Walter emailed and said, how do I build cartilage in my knees?
Yeah, I think anytime you're saying building cartilage, that gets tough. Especially because we're always going to approach it from what we know and what we do, supplements, meds, things that you take that way versus what's the latest technology of, injections and different procedures. That's just not the world that we operate in. And we have general knowledge of that, but not to the degree. Mm-hmm. So to me, it's always like, wow, rebuilding cartilage, that's a big ask. There are things out there that are relatively new, like membrane-induced autologous chondrocyte implantation.
Oh, you don't
MACI.
Yeah.
So they're basically harvested from the body chondrocytes. So basically, they're cartilage-forming cells. They're cells that haven't become cartilage yet. They're cartilage-forming cells.
Kind of like a stem cell?
Yes, like a cartilage stem cell, but like further up the chain. It's like its next step makes cartilage.
Got it.
So it gets re-injected into the joint area where it's needed. So that's how you rebuild cartilage. I mean, if literally at the in the most direct way to say it. Now it costs $40,000, 6 to 8 weeks of recovery, major restrictions. It doesn't help if you have diffuse cartilage damage. Like if your whole knee is bone on bone, it can't regenerate all that. It's more about if there's little instances of it or little areas that they can implant. So it's got limitations, and it's only done in knees. So I mean, it's got limitations. But those kind of things are out there. And again, I wanted to mention it because that's
the cutting edge.
Yes,
that's
okay. More from a supplement end, there are things like Fortigel, really specific types of collagen that have shown to help potentially rebuild some cartilage, but you're looking at a smaller scale.
Yeah.
The main thing you're really looking to do with supplements is to help the synovial fluid.
Okay.
And you're trying, which is really the lubrication part of the joint. So you're trying to get the lubrication better. And yes, you want to feed, raw ingredients like glucosamine and chondroitin. You can tell by the name chondroitin, similar to that chondrocyte word. It is a precursor to cartilage. But again, I just always want to set the bar realistic with something like that.
Yeah.
So it definitely can help. There's studies out there that show it can help. If you look at our collagen specific product in there, it's a great breakdown of some of the studies on the products that are in there, like Fortigel. And they have seen that they looked at participants' knee joints at baseline, 24 weeks out and 48 weeks out of taking that, and they did see increased hyaline cartilage and proteoglycan content in the joints. So there are some studies out there showing that it can help. I just, again, always want to set the bar at a certain level. So you're looking at collagen-based things. You're looking at glucosamine and chondroitin, vitamin C, MSM, and then for relief and, just dealing with what's attacking the joint potentially, anti-inflammatory herbs like turmeric and ginger.
Okay.
Also, lastly, hyaluronic acid, which is going to help the synovial fluid end of things. That is available as an injection as well, or you can take it. That again helps as a precursor to synovial fluid. So I'm sure Dante has some other thoughts. But yeah, and then of course stretching, exercise, that's always going to come into play. Trying to increase the mobility. And really it's cartilage is one end, but the synovial fluid is the other end you always want to pay attention to.
Okay. All right. Dante?
Yeah.
What you got?
Yeah, it's all good stuff. I would say, as always, it would be helpful to ask follow-up questions as well.
Yeah.
I mean, based on his question, we can assume maybe that he has osteoarthritis, which is, hallmarked by this, decrease or breakdown or lack of, cartilage and such in the joints. So, was Walter experiencing pain? Did he have an MRI? Did he have an X-ray? Was there something that happened that now he has this, he has this thought about trying to restore cartilage in the knee? And so what I'll challenge Walter with is that, not really challenge, but just frame it a different way. Look, loss of cartilage is, whether it's the shoulder, the knee, it's super common in imaging. It's, when you take, a picture of the knee, basically, it's super common as you age, and it's hit or miss whether or not there's even pain associated with that. So you can go your whole life, you're active, you maybe have some aches and pains and such, but then they take a picture of your knee and you're bone on bone.
Yeah.
And it's like all of a sudden, oh my goodness, bone on bone, you're pitched this narrative that I have to build cartilage if I want to restore function, when really this is a normal part of aging. There's often not much you can do about the changes within the joint, but there's a million ways you can change the way you approach that. It's not 100% given that this breakdown or this deterioration or this bone on bone is what's even causing the pain in the first place. It certainly could play a role.
Yeah.
And it's not to minimize that in any way. And it's also not meant to minimize what certain injections and what certain, novel therapies are out there to do.
Yeah.
I mean, that's another thing that we got to keep pushing the 8 ball forward, because there are a lot of people who are in severe pain. They are bone on bone. They're a candidate for knee replacement or whatever, which is also viable. But, a lot of people want to avoid that. And the goal is to just paint a broader picture of how complicated osteoarthritis is, how complicated just the phenomena of pain is as a whole. So more or less just getting people to look at this differently. A lot of times people may have improperly dosed their exercise. It's like they were told that their cartilage was breaking down. They jump into some exercise. All of a sudden it's worse. Well, it's worse because I am bone on bone. That's what I've been told. But really sometimes it is all in the dosing, and so that's one example. So you're always looking to strive for enhanced function, but not overreaching, what you're currently capable of.
Right.
So there's that side of it.
Take it to the line.
Yes.
Don't go over.
When we're looking at exercise, I should have prefaced that better. That we're looking more at like exercise and activity and things that you can do to mitigate some of the pain experience that maybe you're having.
Right.
Obviously Joey did mention some supplements that I was going to mention as well. The other kind of way to square the circle here would be to look at some other things that contribute to the symptoms of joint pain or joint sensitivity. So I know that's not what Walter said, but again, I'm just inferring that maybe he is experiencing pain to some sense. So
presumably.
So anxiety, depression, stress, worry, all generally normal things, or common experiences associated with higher rates of pain, and making it more difficult to come out of those situations where maybe your pain's a little higher. Sleep disorders, so things like obstructive sleep apnea, insomnia, not getting enough sleep, tend to be associated with more, elevated experiences of pain, whether it's your knee, your ankle, your shoulder, whatever. The presence of excess body fat as well, and not just because you're necessarily carrying more weight and it's more stress on the joints, because that's another narrative that's often pitched. It's I'm too heavy to start and I'm going to do damage on my knees and my ankles. And so from a reductionist, like mechanical perspective, I could see why we go there, but just more or less the association, and why it's so important to strive for, a healthy weight that can definitely help that. And so all of this is to say, it's very complicated to manage joint pain, manage osteoarthritis. We probably should just do an entire episode on this.
Making a note
right
now.
And it's another, it's another instance where a holistic approach is necessary, and trying to hopefully spread a more positive message about the pain experience. That's at least what I've learned from the people that I respect, and it's certainly helped me through a lot of the shoulder issues and knee issues and things that are well on their way to osteoarthritis, so to speak. So it's all, we feel you, Walter.
Absolutely.